These systems are extremely stable. You don't need to maintain these very much once they get to climax. They're self-maintaining, self-replicating. With a little bit of adjustment, productivity comes up, but without maintenance, stability just continues. This is an exciting system to be able to show students and visitors to the farm that we can re-inhabit a paradise of perennial food. This stump is part of the old growth forest, and this was here originally when we started this food forest. And I think you should look at exactly what can happen in 10 years, because it's no good worrying all the time about where we're at now if we don't know where we could be in a small amount of time. You need to realize how abundant the situation can be in a short amount of time. Hi, I'm Geoff Lawton, and I'm going to take you for a tour around Zaytuna Farm, home of the Permaculture Research Institute. It's now 11 years in development. We started in 2001, and there's plenty to see. So I'm in the 10-year-old food forest here, and it's the oldest food forest on the property. I'm surrounded by productive trees. There's cherry guavas and Brazil cherries and Davidson plum. There's coffee in the understory. Bananas are still fruiting. There's Tipuana tipu as a nitrogen fixer in the canopy, and ice cream bean and casuarinas fixing nitrogen. There's long-term crops like bunya pine, which is a great native nut tree. There's chocolate pudding fruit, black sapote. There's custard apples. There's jaboticaba and gramachama and mulberry. There's guavas, cherry guava, as well as Indian guava, white guava, and feijoa, a relative of guava. There's rose apples. There's a whole mixture of fruit trees here. The wildlife treat it exactly like a forest. The soil's gone black. It's building organic matter all the time and improving non-stop. This is a wonderful habitat for humanity as well as the environment itself. This is one of the most pleasant places to be. It has some of the most diversity, the most stability, and the most delicious food you can ever imagine. We're on the edge of the chicken tractor food forest, established by moving chicken tractors, but now it has free-range chickens, more in their natural habitat, as the chicken originates in Southeast Asia as a forest bird, the Malay jungle fowl. Here they are, our domestic birds, giving us eggs and going to work maintaining our food forest. We've got pumpkin on the fence and papayas, choco on the fence and over the trees, passion fruit behind me, all kinds of things. Let's go and have a look at how happy these birds are and what great work they do for us. The chickens have a small door here that we open up to give them access to the food forest, and we lock them up so they're secure at night. They forage all the way through this system. Any surplus organic matter, they're generally kicked downhill. We can pick it up on the lower side, but we feed the chickens every day around specific fruit trees that are starting to go into fruit, or they're flowering, about to start fruiting. And that way we actually concentrate their effort and their manure where we want them to do the work. And they enjoy doing the work all the time. This is the opposite to a chicken factory. This is a chicken paradise. This is a people paradise. And we've got some very special food we can show you for the chickens. Here we have a black soldier fly larvae farm. These flies arrive as soon as there's any decomposing fruit or vegetable waste, and they lay their eggs in the waste. Most people may have seen them in their compost or their worm farm. These larvae actually eat enormous amounts of waste material, about 10 times the amount worms process. And they're really good feed for poultry, fish and ducks. Very high in protein and fats. It's a waste to healthy chicken, poultry, a wealthy system of good natural cycling. Here we have 35 egg-laying birds, and they're inside an electric net fence. We have a car trailer that's been converted to their chicken house, and it moves independently around the farm. It's got its own solar powered system, little battery charging the fence, solar panel on the roof, water supply and feed bin, nest boxes on the side. We're getting about 10 dozen eggs a week out of these birds, but we're also getting 150 square meters of prepared ground. They've only been here 12 days and they're nearly ready for a move. We'll chip out the remaining grasses, prepare it with a ground cover, and then start planting food forest. Here we have systems that are 6 weeks old, 1 month old, just 3 weeks old, and over here, just 10 days old. Each move is planted to food forest after chicken preparation over a large area. A great way to move a food forest quickly into establishment and almost guarantee that you're going to get good tree growth and a dominated canopy which will emerge out of a ground cover of nitrogen fixing cover crop. Fast moves on food forest, a great way to cover distance quickly. Here we are in a duck food forest. We've got a pond just above us that we can fertigate down with duck manured water. We've got really happy ducks feeding around all the fruit trees here, and they'll pesticide eating slugs and snails and keeping it pretty well pest free. We've got really good citrus and many other types of fruit trees in amongst this sort of Mediterranean setting of food forest. Good production of animals and fruit trees in one location. We're on the edge of our urban garden demonstration where we've tried to use completely recycled material. And this is our aquaponics. We have 4 bars full of gravel, recycling the nutrient from our fish system. We have a 1 cubic meter of fish container here. There's 200 silver perch that are growing out here, and the nutrient from these goes through the gravel bath grow beds. They grow vegetables. They go on down to a goldfish pond, which is a sump for the water, and then with solar power, electricity, it's pumped back and oxygenates the fish right here. So fish, vegetables, and an ornamental pond all in one circuit in our little recycled raised bed urban garden demonstration. You can't put a cheaper vegetable protein system together than this with very low energy input and great output product yield. Here's the use of vertical stacking. We've got pumpkins all the way up this bamboo fence next to the duck yard, around the cow dairy yard, onto the chicken yard, and they're going so well the bamboo's getting a bit old and he's sagged with the weight. But we got lots of bamboo. I mean, there's no problem about replacing the bamboo in that time frame. In the meantime, it's coming on to winter and we're going to have lots of lovely pumpkin soup. So we're shading the birds. We have been shading the birds, and now we're going to feed ourselves, and we're probably going to put a new strip of bamboo along the top, which we have plenty growing. A nice little bit of tight stacking in a vertical space. Yep. Oh, look, we're going to look at these tomatoes. Look at these tomatoes. We're here in the kitchen garden, one of Zaytuna Farm's main diverse food supplies. We're going from summer to winter crop now, and the last of our corn and seed crop are in from summer. And this is a garden that has continuous crops of diversity. It's the most diverse part of the vegetable growing system that we have. And it's quite a large garden, but it provides a lot of meals, contributes to most of the 25 to 30,000 meals produced on site every year. And all kinds of perennial and annual plants are included, and seasonal changes. It's fertilized with mulch, compost tea and biofertilizer. Those are the main fertilizers of the garden. And then companion planting, but evolution sometimes just happen by accident. Here's one right in front of me. This is a garden bed that was initiated by the chickens and the chicken tractor inside the electric net fence. And at that period, when they were processing this area and digging it over and manuring it and getting it ready for a garden, we had a lot of cherry tomato plants finishing off in the kitchen garden. So we threw them to the chickens, and then we put in a cover crop and planted some of our mulch trees that we want to produce. And the whole thing almost has been completely taken over by cherry tomato plants. We didn't plant them. The chickens planted them, but we're going to harvest them. And it's a wonderful evolution without any work going in. The work going in was to feed chickens old tomato plants with a few extra tomatoes on, and they planted them. We're going to harvest them, and the cycles just keep repeating like that. So our sandy soil is now a rich, crumbly, dark soil. It's full of crumbs. It's holding moisture really well. And it's much, much darker and higher in organic matter than it ever was before. And it allows us to continuously crop using mulch and compost. With a large garden like this, it's hard to maintain the footpaths free of weeds in the subtropics. So this wheel hoe makes it easy work of it. As long as you keep on top of the weeds a bit, you're just skimming through their roots and keeps footpaths weed free with very little effort. Very simple, appropriate technology tool, the wheel hoe. This is our reed bed system. We have a double reed bed system. big gravel at either end, so the grey water sinks down and transits through the roots of the reeds. This is a commercial system in Australia. This is a system that is recommended by Lismore Shire Council. You can see it on Lismore Shire Council website, well explained. It's very easily set up. There's just little overflow pipes in here that set the level of water under the gravel, goes through 2 reed beds and out through filtration trenches into the ground. This is a large system. It caters for 12 showers and a commercial kitchen. This is ready for our larger development which we're moving into. Biological cleaning of wastewater and industrial waste is the future. It's the only way it's going to be done. Don't go into old-fashioned, over-engineered systems and look like an out-of-date system. Biology is the only way we can sponge up our pollution into the carbon cycle. Long-chain carbon molecules. Down here, we've got another carbon cycle. We've got our main crop. And you can see some of the boys down there working in the main crop garden. It's the time of year we're planting potatoes and broad beans and our brassicas. Let's go down and see what they're doing. These are the last of the sweet potatoes here. Summer crops come out and winter crops going in. We've got 12 beds of potato in already and a bed of wheat up the top. We're getting ready. Some of the guys here are putting in the broad beans and cabbages. This is the broad area crop. This is the main crop area. It's a little bit less subtle. It's much larger and it produces the bulk food. This is the main food crop, summer and winter season garden, and it's a great learning experience for people to be able to work on a large area and realise that you can't take too many risks and you can't experiment too much because it's a lot of area to cover. There's a lot of potential getting out most of the main foods for the farm kitchen. This is our polytunnel incubating house. Many things, many plants and trees start their life in here. More so in the cooler months than the warm months because it gets very hot here in summer. We don't need it in summer, but in the cooler times, either side of the hot months, our seedlings, our vegetable seedlings, our little legume trees, our exotic cuttings are in here at this time because it's going towards winter now. New collections of taro, our herbal cuttings, our divisions, more legume trees, always more legume trees, more vegetables just cycling all the time. And this is really the incubating nursery. And we've set it up with a humidifier, a little tiny bit of solar electricity here, pressure through gravity from the dams and a big filter. And as soon as it dries out, this little stainless steel fly swat just gets a bit lighter and lifts and trips the mister. And then when it gets heavy with the moisture, it drops again. Nothing ever dries out. Great little system, takes out all that really regular discipline that's needed for these nursery situations where you have so many embryo babies coming through to be abundant, long-term, productive or strong support species. Central to every project, I think, the incubating nursery. Let's go on to the next stage. Here we are in the greenhouse, shade house with sheltered light conditions. It's not quite so temperature sensitive here. Everything's moving through to kind of like the next stage from the nursery to the kindergarten. Everything's a little bit older, a little bit more established. The legumes are in larger pots, they've been potted on. The vegetable seedlings are getting ready to get transplanted out from here. Some trees desperately need potting. Some are sitting in water because they're more aquatic trees. And here, they're getting ready to go out and be hardened outside. And this is really the exotic survivors that demonstrate their rugged abundance. So I can see a lot of opportunity here just about to hit the ground. So from here, we go out to the hardening off area. Let's have a look at that. Here we are in the hardening off area. This is just before everything hits the ground. And we have an automatic timer here, a little computerized solar powered timer. Underneath here, we can set the time for the irrigation, so it's always irrigated. And we have a rain indicator. If it rains, this sensor picks it up so it doesn't get watered, so we never get anything over-watered. And we have our little irrigation coming underground, inspection holes here to make sure the taps are working. And there's citrus trees ready to be grafted. Lots and lots of bunya pines, we plant 50 a year. Lots and lots of mangoes, we plant at least 50 a year. Coffee, more legume trees, more fruit trees. We've got red cedar, a whole load of red cedar. They logged this area for that tree, so we're putting it back because we want to replace the reason for the exploitation of the environment. Bunya pine, probably one of the main foods of the world in the future. Araucaria bidwillii, 18 years to give nuts, and then these nuts are a main food, whole food. This one's ready to go. 800 potential years, maybe 1,000 years of food supply in my hand. I couldn't speak more highly about a tree than the bunya pine. And of course, you know, the mango is just such a classic. And jackfruit, another long-term tree. You're looking at very long-term energy storage in some of these species, and this is no special nursery. It's just the sort of nursery every project needs, that's all. We all need one. Goats. Yeah, goats. Yeah, goats. I'm in the goat pen, which is a small field. Male goats are here at the moment, and the female goats are out browsing. But we get quite a few products out of these goats, and they do quite a good job. And they actually help us reforest as well. We cut weed trees and bring them in every day, and they strip off the leaves from privet and different weed growth trees. And after the leaves are gone, we get bare sticks that we chop up, and every day we chop here on a stump, and we get all the kindling we need to light fires and the wood stove. So there's an ongoing product of sticks all the time. We have manured straw bedding that comes out every week, and new bedding goes in. So great fertilizer. We milk goats, so we're milking the females, and we're getting a few litres of milk every day. And then, of course, they produce babies, and not all of them are females, and they get processed through as goat meat. So we've got quite a good product. We've just got our goats in control, and we're bringing most of the feed to them. And they strip off the tree leaves that we don't want to grow. They're the weed trees. That opens up the forest and allows us to replant quality trees back into the gullies and the rainforest edges and extend forests. So again, we're extending edges, we're creating fertilizer, we're getting milk, and we're getting firewood. So a great way to put goats into productive sequences on a farm. And they're really nice animals to have around. I'm stood in the spillway of a dam we call Paradise for good reasons. It's one of the prettiest dams on the farm and the oldest dam. It's well established next to a food forest. We have a swivel pipe connected to a pipe under the spillway. So at any time we can just swivel this pipe down, and there we can take the water straight down and feed a swale that goes almost a kilometre out on contour through the landscape and has a kilometre of food forest planted on it. A simple mechanism that just diverts water or retains water with one simple move. And here you can see the amount of pressure that's the kind of pressure that we have on our gravity irrigation system from the top of the property through to close to the bottom. We have an endless amount of gravity irrigation water. Swales and dams are the main input mechanisms, the design elements that give us an endless drought-proof recharge for gravity irrigation. Never any need to start a pump here. Well, here's the Perennial Creek, the bottom of the property. And this is a pretty clean creek in relation to our input. Our water just comes down here through natural biological systems. No nitrogen, no fertilizers, no chemicals, no biocides. All the things that go out to the ocean and cause algae blooms, here everything is retained in the system for as long as possible as natural life-enhancing biology. Our systems actually attract wildlife. Our wildlife diversity is increasing all the time, and our water quality is exceptionally high and full of life. This is a system all of us should adopt. Here are the dairy cows, and these dairy cows here are on a very natural river flat pasture. This is our great milk production system. These three cows here you can see in the scene, they're all being milked. There's two calves down there as well. And the electric fence moves every few days, giving us fresh pasture and enhanced growth. A diversity keeps increasing in the pasture grasses, and the quality of the milk increases all the time with it. We mineralize our cows with rock minerals, sulfur, dolomite, kelp, seaweed, and apple cider vinegar, molasses, a little bit of copper sulfate. And those minerals become plant soluble and they're pumped out all over the pasture. Every now and again we come through and mow it and increase the organic matter return quickly, but we're getting mineralized milk and meat and manure, and it's all helping the whole system become richer and more diverse all of the time. So here the cows have come through and grazed off, and we've led them into the edge of the forest. They've cleared a lot of the weed trees and lantana and vines, and then we come through and clear, and they've prepared the ground. They've crash grazed an area so that we can replant rainforest quality species and extend the forest out to the inappropriate grazing area. So the cows are working for us to extend the quality of the forest. And in doing so, we're also extending quality pasture in appropriate slopes. So a double function of cows preparing ground and improving pasture at the same time, all from the cattle laneway. These areas of wilderness, these are the areas we're extending. This is the natural rainforest extension area, and the cows are allowing us to extend this wilderness. That's a wonderful partnership that we have. And these are great areas to just sit and reflect when you come to Zaytuna Farm to learn about how nature interacts with productive interactive diversity. Beautiful reflection areas. This is what we call the Fairy Gully. Well, we've given you a bit of a tour around. We can't show you everything. There's so many finer details and so many little evolutions happening everywhere. It's a living, learning experience, and if you're ready for it, if you're ready for this sort of immersion, 10 years of permaculture transforms a rundown, burned out old cattle property into this sort of abundance. If you're ready to learn and immerse in this sort of experience while you go through transformation of education and get another worldview, and we hope we can help more and more people to go out and change the world so that we can all live this sort of experience.